Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. We are, as always, a proud product of Walther Firearms. And if you haven't seen one of these guys yet, this is the Walther Steel Frame PDP match. It's awesome. That's all there is to it. And if you don't like it, they're going to give you your money back. How crazy is that? You're not going to find that deal from any other gun company, I promise, because they have the guts to say, you know what, if you don't like this thing, it's going to be your fault and not our fault. It's steel gun weight, everything we like about metal guns without the problems of metal guns. Look how cool that looks underneath the logo there. Nice. All right, also proudly sponsored by CR Speed, the finest gun handling gadgetry you can wrap around your waist or anywhere else. Targets USA, the finest steel targetry. The AMG-Lab.com Commanders and Timer, which continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting the time into the tablet. Hunter's HD Gold is the only eyewear that I'm aware that I ever wear. I am unaware of any other eyewear that I ever wear. And, of course, StudentSportsInnovations.com. A lot to see. There's a lot to type. OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser. Okay, got a lot of cool things coming up, a lot of cool things in the works. March Mental Management is online now in 3 different time zones, and we have a very special program. Pardon me one second. We have a very special program for junior athletes of any sport. So if you're a shooter and you have a junior athlete in your house, you are going to want to get in on this. It's a very special event in March, and the whole household gets to attend on one device for the same price. So if you've got a shooter, you've got a kid playing baseball, you want to get in on this. If you're a shooter, you got a kid playing volleyball, you want to get in on this. Okay? It's the first time we've done it. Junior athletes of any sport, we're going to get them started with mental management right away. Go to andersonshooting.com. It's now called Training, and you can sign up for it there. You only need to sign up once per household. We just set up two more classes with the mighty Kita Bussy. One in New Mexico in August. Yes, I know it's going to be hot. And one in North Carolina, which I think is in May. The classes we do with Kita are simply the best firearms training either of us has ever seen. The gains we get. When was the last time you got 10 seconds off of a field course? Okay, we see those results every time because when you're with Kita, you don't have to worry about Steve things. When you're with Steve, you don't got to worry about Kita things. And because it's 2 different instructors, it's so much easier to keep those things separated. Okay, and you can get a free class in your area by being a class sponsor. We are reviving the Insider program, and we're going to start doing the phone calls if you guys want to. So the Insider program is $15 a month. You get a lot of online content, and you get 30 minutes a month with me. And we also have a new red carpet program. It's a 90-day program where you get virtually unlimited access to me. Most of my red carpet clients check in almost daily. You get individualized help with your journals, individualized help. So we've had some amazing results. The most recent one, she just got out of a slump that's been bugging her for years. She's out of her slump in 2 weeks. We have another one that is gone from the middle of the pack, his local match, to the top. And his young daughter actually wins open now at their local match. A 15-year-old girl winning open after about a month of unrestricted access to Steve Anderson. So this thing works, I promise. All right, so these are the things that I believe. And I will come up with clickbait for this at some point. Maybe it'll occur to me. Maybe you can be here when I come up with the clickbait for this. Maybe. Just maybe. But these are things that I believe in. Okay? I'm not sure how many there are. 21 or so far. Ooh, people say that odd numbers are better. So it looks like we're at 21. Okay. Let's start with the 3 modes of practice. Okay? Inside the 3 modes of practice, and if you hear people talking about speed mode, they're saying these are things I learned from Steve Anderson. There was no speed mode before there was Steve Anderson. Just saying. Number 1, well, we'll get start with speed mode, since we're on that topic. Speed mode means I'm trying to get my body to do something faster than it's currently doing it, and I don't really care about accuracy while my body is learning to do the thing faster. Oh, you're just telling me to practice missing. I thought the same thing for a while. In fact, the very first issue of Front Sight magazine I got had a quote from Todd Jarrett in it. And that quote said, "If you're not missing in practice, you're not going fast enough." And that confused me, because in my infinite wisdom, I was the guy that said, "Oh yeah, you, Todd Jarrett, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to go out and practice missing. That would be crazy." But maybe Todd Jarrett invented speed mode, and he just didn't know what to call it. It just means I need my body to do a thing faster, and I'm willing to suspend my judgment of accuracy for a short period of time while I discover what that feels like and while I make that normal. A great way to think of it is driving 100 miles an hour in your mom's car for the first time. It's terrifying. In my case, it was an 80s Chevrolet Citation. Most of you don't even know. Think about a Chevy Pinto. Okay? I can still smell that car. Oh, it was awful. Awful. But back then, the speedometers only went to 85, or at least on this particular car. And I don't know why they did that. So you had to bury it, right? So, you get up to about 75 and things start shaking. You start hearing weird noises. You get up to 85 and you're like, okay, we're almost there. And then finally it goes past 85. The whole car starts to vibrate and you think, I'm getting ready to die. This was a horrible mistake. But you don't die. And everything's fine. So then the next time you get in the car, it's very easy to do that, because you know what it feels like, and now it's normal. That's what speed mode does. Okay? If you're doing El Presidente in 7 seconds, you don't know what it feels like to do it in 5. It's going to feel very different. Well, it doesn't matter if I can't hit the targets. It doesn't matter if your body can't do it. So let's just take that one. It doesn't matter if you can hit the targets if your body can't do it fast enough. So speed mode simply means that we suspend our judgment of accuracy for some period of time to learn what it's like to do something faster. What does it feel like, and how can I make that normal? Okay? The one I should have started with was accuracy mode, because that's the first one. Okay? Accuracy mode means I need to be able to be incredibly accurate, and I don't really care how long that takes. Okay, so the mistake people make here is they can shoot steel. They can do, 25-yard headshots, but they can't do it fast enough. Or they don't think they can do it fast enough, so they do it faster, they get poor accuracy, and then they get mad. Well, I can do it, but I can't do it fast. Okay, well, what I'm thinking is, and you don't need to spend a ton of time in accuracy mode because our shots are so easy. Accuracy mode for me is primarily group shooting. And that's done every time I go to the range. You want to shoot groups because you're checking gun, you're checking optic, you're checking ammo, you're checking shooter's ability to shoot good groups. And it's usually done to the head, and you're looking for a 3-inch. It's the exact same size as the IDPA circle, the IDPA head box circle. And you're looking to get a 3-inch group at whatever distance you can do that. You want to do that freestyle, you want to do it strong hand, you want to do it support hand. Doesn't matter how long it takes. You don't put speed on accuracy mode. Okay? Match mode simply means I'm recreating competition conditions, and I'm going to leave only acceptable shots as quickly as I can see them. So you're practicing competing. And the only real difference between speed mode and match mode, yes, match mode will be a little bit more responsible visually. Match mode simply means activating the makeup shot. Okay, this is where you want to use your point of focus or your focus phrase. And if you're not sure what that point of focus should be, match mode dry fire or match mode live fire is absolutely the place to do that. Okay, now we're going to talk about the triad state. The triad state is where my subconscious skills, my conscious mind, and my self-image are balanced and working together. Okay? You cannot have success without those 3 things. And even if you don't believe in mental management, you're still using it. Okay? You could actually, my buddy El Prez, he actually stole my version for his lawyer seminar. Prez, if you're listening, I thought that was awesome. He calls it strategy, skill, and confidence. And I know he got that from me, because that's what I used to call them. So I've got attorneys in Louisiana using my stuff. But Prez is a great guy. He's super, super cool. But the triad state means I know what to think about and I can control it with my conscious mind. I have sufficient skill for the task, subconscious skill, and my self-image either believes I'm going to be successful or is not worried about the results or some combination. Okay? So self-image simply means it's going to be okay. Whatever happens, it's going to be okay. In fact, I just read a fascinating thing about follow through for every sport. Follow through is staying with the task until it's complete instead of skipping to analysis before it's complete. I thought that was fascinating. In shooting, the easiest way to look at it would be staying with the sights as they lift instead of immediately looking to the target. In group shooting, it means towards the end of the stage, staying with that point of focus as opposed to automatically going to thinking about the time. Okay? That's the triad. So that's a really cool article about follow through that I read. But finishing up on the triad state, conscious, subconscious, self-image. That's the foundation of mental management. And even if you don't know anything about mental management, you are using your conscious mind. You have subconscious skill, and you do have a self-image. And those things are working together for you or against you. Okay? Next thing I believe in is match mode dry fire. So most of the dry fire that I advocate in Refinement Repetition, which is the first dry fire book ever written. I know that because if there was another one, I would have bought it, and I probably wouldn't be standing here talking to you. So, most of Refinement Repetition will be done in speed mode, where the time is more important than the accuracy. Okay? And I even write in the book presumes you know how to fire an accurate shot. Okay? That's kind of your responsibility before you start doing any speed mode stuff. But match mode dry fire is where we don't use the par time for the task. Okay, the easiest example would be, okay, I've been doing my dry fire presentations down to 0.6. I got a match tomorrow. I want to make sure I'm not rushing the shots, so I'm going to turn my par time off and just draw to that side picture. Or I'm going to draw and actually fire the shot, but I'm not going to put a par time on it, because if I do, I'm rewarded for pulling the trigger. That's not what we want in match mode dry fire. The other way to do it, as I've said numerous times, put 10 seconds on your timer and dry fire back and forth between two targets for 10 seconds. That's it, just two targets. And then go to 12 and use different targets or add targets. So now I've changed something, right? I dry fired something continuously for 10 seconds. Now I'm going to change it and add time. Then I'm going to change it and add time. Then I might put some movement in there. Well, what drills do you do? It doesn't matter. Whatever you think you're going to see at the match. But you're doing a 10-second stage, leaving only acceptable shots. And for sure, activate the makeup switch. And then you're going to do a 12-second stage, leaving only acceptable shots. So that's the definition of success in, we need to talk about that too, in match mode dry fire. So we'll go ahead and do definition of success now, because that's for sure mine. If you don't know what success is in training or competition, you will never have any success. Therefore, you will not expect to have success, and your confidence will be very low. Self-image and confidence are pretty interchangeable at this point. There's a little bit of difference, but not a lot. Okay. So if I go to the range saying, okay, the definition of success is to get a masterclass run on this classifier. That's it. I've been successful. Okay. This brings up today goals. Good grief. So ask yourself before you start training, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And what is the definition of success? Those questions are critical to be answered. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And what is the definition of success? Okay? And the definition of success could just be daily dry fire. You know, you don't always have to chip away at your par times, but if your par times are not dropping on the multiple shot drills, then you're too worried about accuracy. If you're stuck at 6 seconds for a 6 reload 6 for very long, it means you're way too worried about accuracy. Okay? All right. Definition of success, we covered that. Okay, good. The next thing is a subconscious stage plan. Virtually none of this is going to work without a subconscious stage plan. It is critical. And I'll prove it to you. How well do you drive when you go to your grocery store? You drive great. How well do you drive when you're trying to find your hotel in a new town? You don't drive as good because you literally don't know where you're going. And the conscious mind is torn between navigating and driving. Okay? When you drive to your grocery store, they're both subconscious. The route is subconscious and the driving is subconscious. So you can talk on the phone, you can do whatever you want. Okay? But if you're in a new town, and you're having to use your GPS to get where you're going, you can't be on the phone while you're doing that. That's not going to work. Okay? So, and I believe 20 reps is a pretty good number. And here's the test. If you can't remember every target of your last match, particularly a 5 or 6 stage local, you didn't know those stages well enough. So today's Monday. If you shot a match yesterday, I want you to hit pause on your machine and see if you can remember every target. Start with the first stage you shot. Okay? How many rounds was it? And describe every target to your dog or your car. Okay? If you can't do that, you did not know those stages well enough. It's just that simple. Okay? And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to memorize the stage. Oh, that's another one that's mine. We got to talk about anal strat mem viz. I don't think that's in here. Yeah, cool. Analyze, strategize, memorize, visualize. Analyze the round count and the target locations. Strategize how you're going to do it, staying moving as much as possible, reducing the amount of time spent not shooting as much as you can. Memorize the stages in chunks. Easiest way to do that is, as you're in line, try to predict what you're going to see next. Okay, so there's 3 open targets here. I can't see the next position. What I think I'm going to find is 3 pretty close targets close together. Yes, I got that. Okay. One of the things that Keita and I argue about, our arguments are hilarious, by the way, is whether the round count should be in there. I believe it should be. She believes it should not. And we agree to disagree. But I like to have the round count in there, especially if the shooter has a history of FTSA. And I think the round count is good for preventing invasive or intrusive thoughts. I think that's 2 good reasons to put it in there. Okay. So, and then we're going to memorize, and then we need to get at least 20 reps of that stage plan within walking it and visualizing it. Okay, we need to get to at least 20. And I'll tell you why. Think about your very best stage. It probably starts with, I knew the stage inside and out. Okay, well, what I hear when they say I knew it inside and out, I hear I had a subconscious stage plan. And now that we have a subconscious stage plan, we need subconscious execution. Okay? What that means is I can perform these tasks without conscious thought. Somebody's going to argue with me. I'm done arguing on the internet because you can do whatever you want. Right? That's the best thing about a hobby. You can do whatever you want. I'm telling you, everybody shoots their best when they're not thinking. And what that means is they shoot their best subconsciously. Okay, and I'll prove it to you again. You'll have a great run. Somebody will say, man, what a smoking reload. I don't remember doing one. Man, you had a great draw. I wasn't thinking about the draw. But if you want a subconscious stage plan and a subconscious execution, you've got to program the computer with your reps. And then when that timer goes off, you need to restrict your thinking to one thing. And that's the point of focus. And I recommend that be visual. I will see what I need to see. Center the dot, call the shot. Okay, give yourself something to think about. It doesn't need to be shooting related, but I think it should be vision related for most people. Because the biggest problem you have in most stages is firing the gun on a poor sight picture. Is there any other sport in the world where the biggest problem is firing the gun on a poor sight picture? Guys, we have the easiest shots in the shooting sports. And anytime I talk to PRS shooters, and I tell them, yeah, the biggest problem the handgun guys have is they pull the trigger with a bad sight picture. And they're like, it's not bullet drop? No, we don't have bullet drop. It's not the barometric pressure. We don't care about that. Is it wind? No, it's not wind. No, just the dot wasn't on the target when they pulled the trigger. Yeah, why would they do that? Excellent question. Now, the best way to think about nothing is to be completely immersed in calling every shot. When you're completely immersed in calling every shot, you are not thinking. You are just observing. That is the ideal state in which to be shooting, if you believe you can call your shots. If you don't believe you can call your shots, and by the way, shot calling is the most important skill in the sport. There's not outside of safety. There's nothing more important than being able to call your shots. Nothing. As a mental game tool, it occupies the conscious mind. As an accuracy tool, it solves the debate between speed and accuracy. And we'll get to that in a minute. Speed and accuracy is the best clickbait. Every time I can get speed and accuracy in the same title, the views just get through the roof. So I'll see if I can get speed and accuracy in the same title for you. Now I want to talk about the limit of human function. And I believe I got this from Brian Enos. The limit of human function is the fastest speed at which your body can do a thing. Okay? My limit of human function right now for most draws is a 0.6. Could I get it to a 0.5? Maybe. Does it matter? Not really. If I was doing Steel Challenge seriously still, which by the way I had to suspend that due to injuries and a couple of other reasons, but if I was still doing that seriously, I'd be super obsessed with getting that wrist above shoulders draw down to a consistent 6. Okay? Not that it would be a 6 live fire, but it would be under a second on virtually all those plates. Okay? Which is where it needs to be, certainly at 10 yards. But limit of human function means this is primarily a speed mode exercise. I want my body to do a thing faster than it can currently do it. Therefore, I am going to get in speed mode where I'm not responsible for accuracy until my body figures out what it feels like. Okay? And that's what that is. And you're raising that limit of human function. And when am I going to see it at the match? You're going to see it at the match when it presents itself. Meaning, if you've been working on your draws and your limit of human function is a 0.6, they give you a close target, and you're able to think about something besides the draw, you're going to get a smoking first shot. If you're thinking about your draw, you're probably going to screw it up. But if you can think about something else, oh, by the way, that's another one of my principles. Human beings can't stop thinking about things. Men, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whatever you do, don't picture your favorite female's favorite body part. Wait, your favorite female, your favorite... Yeah, don't picture that. I just did. Hey, I learned which one it was. I guess I hadn't decided. Now I know. But you can't not think of things. You know, if you're having a bad day and somebody says, don't think about it, well, that doesn't work. But if they change the subject and you talk about baseball or the Olympic Winter Games, now you're not thinking about it anymore. So you can't stop thinking about things, but you can change what you're thinking about. Okay? I got to give Jay Beal credit for this one, but I do believe in this now. Jay Beal came up with stupid mode, in which accuracy is completely irrelevant for a short period of time. Doesn't even matter. An example would be if I'm trying to get my El Pres down, let's say I'm at a 5, I want to get to a 4, and I'm kind of stuck there. I would turn and draw, pull the trigger 12 times. This is primarily dry fire. Pull the trigger 12 times, reload, pull the trigger 12 more times, either on one target or at the wall. It doesn't even matter. Okay? Until my human body can do that thing in 4 seconds, the target is completely irrelevant. Okay? That would be stupid mode. And I fully endorse that. But I do believe you have to have a very strong match mode first. And a very strong match mode means analyze, strategize, memorize, visualize, surrender to your eyes with that point of focus. So it's anal, strat, mem, viz. The class I just did in, where were we? Georgia, near Atlanta, Georgia. During the break, the guy says to me, Steve, why does your shirt say anal? And I said, oh, that's short for analyze. Oh, great. At least he asked. Makes me wonder if people see that on there and don't ask. I don't know. Visualization. You need to do at least 20 mental reps of your plan. At least 20. And by the way, your opinion of your plan is more important than your plan. And I'll prove it to you. That'd be my second new tagline. My first tagline is becoming very famous. What are we even doing here? So when you hear somebody say that, but maybe my new one will be, I'll prove it to you. Your opinion of your plan is more important than your plan. Okay? When you love the stage and love the plan, you shoot great. When you hate the stage and hate your plan, you don't shoot very well. That's because your opinion of your plan is more important than your plan. Okay? And you use visualization, and that should be a silent movie. The only audio should be round count. And yes, you're going to kind of know what the cadence is going to be. I don't ever try to visualize full speed because I don't want to be limited. Full speed walkthroughs, something Keita and I both do agree on, is they're really only useful if the terrain is compromised, if the terrain is changed, or if it's got very tight positions and you're afraid you might overrun them under adrenaline. But in general, I am not a big fan of full speed walkthroughs because I believe they program visual impatience, because we set a speed for the body and we disrespect the sight picture in order to achieve our preset body speed. Very, very, very likely to cause accuracy problems. In training, you can use visualization to substitute for physical reps. What I mean by that is, especially as we get a little older, maybe we can't do as many reps. If you visualize the rep before and after, I learned this when I was doing draws for steel challenge. My hands are hurting, my skin is broken. I'm on these blood thinners now, so my skin is really, really thin all the time, very prone to bleeding. So I couldn't do as many reps. But I could visualize a perfect rep before and after, and it made my actual physical reps so much better. So much better. It's also great for the self-image because your visualized reps are always perfect. Okay? All right, next thing we're going to talk about is the level of participation. So everybody has a level of participation. And it doesn't really matter what it is. It only matters that your expectations are consistent with your level of participation. One of the things I see very frequently is I'll see female shooters who are very casual comparing themselves to male shooters that are very serious. And this isn't a gender thing. It's just I've noticed this a lot. You've got kind of a C-class female, dry fires once a week. And then you've got an A-class male, and it could be the other way too. It could be female to male. But then we've got an A-class shooter who dry fires every day. Well, the C-class person who dry fires once a week is not going to be competitive with the person who dry fires every day, and they'll get angry because they're not. So you have to be honest with your level of participation. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, identify it. Oh, and if it's going to change, have a conversation with your relationships. Most women did not marry aspiring grandmasters or aspiring national champions. It will change your life. So have conversations with your relationships. See, you didn't know you were going to get marriage advice. Man, I'd be so good at being married now. I've learned so much. I wouldn't rule out getting married again, but I have ruled out getting divorced ever again. It's just not going to happen. That's my level of participation. Now, the center of the available target area. Until you are in contention to win your division at a national event, I want you to shoot partials in the center of the available target area. Okay? The other time is if you need a GM run and the targets are close, you might, for example, can you count? Okay? It's right in front of you. The no shoot's very generous. You are going to shoot in the A zone, which isn't quite the middle of the available. But as the targets get closer, you've got more A zone. But in general, I want you to shoot partials in the center of the available target area. I have tested this so many times, and I am done arguing about it. Do what you want. Okay? All I'm saying is, oh, and by the way, you're not relegated to Charlies and Deltas. We see Alpha Charlie all the time. You're not shooting at the C zone. You're shooting at the center of the available target area. Okay? Everybody's margin of error is between a softball and a grapefruit. So if you're aiming at the A zone, your softball or your grapefruit could get into that no shoot. Okay? I'm not a math expert, but 15-point penalty as opposed to 3 points for 3 points for a Charlie. That's way better. And it's so much faster. And you can be so much more aggressive. You can do it while you're moving, and you don't even see the penalty target anymore. So I call that COATA, shoot partials in the center of the available target area. Now, I believe in green shots, yellow shots, and red shots. So this goes back to shot calling. You remember margin of error. Okay? So a green shot has a very high likelihood of being an alpha. The worst it can be is a close Charlie. Okay? A yellow shot is not an alpha, but it's not a mic. That zone is very, very small. Now, that's normally reserved for something dynamic. Either I'm moving or the target's moving. That's where most of your yellows are going to occur. A red shot is for sure a delta or a mic. And reds get made up the vast majority of the time. Okay? And by the way, if you ever want to know how much time something's worth, take the penalty and divide it by the hit factor, and that tells you how much time it's worth. Okay? For example, a mic's 15 points penalty, and a 5 hit factor, it's worth 3 seconds. So if I can get a better shot than a mic in 2.99, I improve my hit factor. Okay? So, green shots are good. Yellow shots are acceptable. You can have some number of those. Again, it depends on what you're doing. So, like if I'm backing up and I fire a yellow shot, I'm not going back for it. But if I'm backing up and I see a red shot, if it's a low hit factor stage, I probably have time to go back. If it's a high hit factor stage, I probably don't. Okay? To take that into absurdity, if it's a 15 hit factor stage, a mic is worth a second. And if I can't get back and make that up in less than a second, the mic is better. Same thing with a malfunction on your last shot. Let's say you've engaged your last target once, you run dry. Depending on your hit factor, you may or may not have time for that reload. If you haven't fired at all, then you've got to do the reload or clear the malfunction because you've got to avoid the FTSA. But if you've hit it once, high hit factor means probably leave it. Low hit factor means probably do the reload. Okay? And the best use of this data is day 2. Okay? If you're an A-class shooter and you're going into a match and there's A-class shooters that have shot this stage, you know what an A-class hit factor is going to be. It doesn't mean you're going to try to shoot one because we know you're going to. That's what's going to happen. What you're using the data for is to learn what makeup shots are worth. Okay? So you know going in, okay, a delta, I've got 0.4 of a second to make up delta. Oh, and you never have time to make up an observed Charlie. So if you're looking at the target and you're making up Charlies you can see, you're wasting your time. Okay? Charlies normally don't get made up anyway. It's so dependent on the stage, but an observed Charlie is never worth making up. You don't have time to see the hole in the target, decide to shoot, and fire an alpha. You just don't have time. Okay, that brings us back to the point of focus or focus phrase. So, if I want a subconscious performance of a subconscious stage plan, I've got to give my conscious mind something to do. The conscious mind is very, very good, very powerful, but the problem is it can only do one thing at a time, and it can't do them very quickly. That's why it takes you forever to come up with your stage plan. That's why it takes you so long to put furniture together. You've never done it before. Okay? You know, if your wife buys you 4 wooden rocking chairs from IKEA, the first one's going to take 45 minutes, second one's going to take 30, and then 15 and 10. Because you've already figured it out. But the first one's going to take a long time because you got to figure this thing out. Okay? But once it's figured out, the conscious teaches the subconscious how to do it. This happens through repetition. And then your opinion of this process goes to your self-image and lets you decide whether you can do this or not. Fascinating stuff. And by the way, you can say you don't like mental management, but you can't escape it. It's like gravity. You can't get up and go, you know what? I've had it with gravity. Today I'm done with gravity. I'm just not doing it. Yeah, try that and see how it works. Okay, but the point of focus gives you something to think about so that you don't micromanage the stage plan or the subconscious skill. Okay, it can be anything, but I recommend it be something visual. My 2 favorites are I will see what I need to see, center the dot, call the shot. And what that does is that creates a line of computer code that governs my shooting. When I say center the dot and call a shot, if I present to the left, the gun cannot fire. If I'm fully committed. If I'm not fully committed and I'm worried about speed, that gun's going off. But if I'm fully committed to center the dot, even though it feels like it's taking forever, the alternative is a poor shot or a makeup. That's when the gun fires. Center the dot, call the shot. Call the shot means watch it lift. Okay? If I know where that dot lifted from, I know exactly where that bullet went, within my softball or my grapefruit. And on the subject of shot calling, okay, low left is always caused by that, by jerking the trigger with a poor grip. okay, and or with a poor grip. And the issue isn't that you're moving the gun. The issue is that the gun is moving before it fires and you're not seeing it, okay? So if the shot goes low left, here it is. I've decided to fire, boom. And they didn't see that. If something is happening to move that barrel, the sight / barrel, same basic principle there, move that much, we need to be able to see it. If we're not seeing it, we might be blinking or not paying attention. But back to the point of focus, you write this line of code that says, I will see what I need to see. And that's all you care about. Okay? That will produce your best shooting. Now let's talk about the people that live in the middle of the pack. If you look at nationals, number one may rotate a little bit, may not, depending on which division it is. But 3 through 15 is always the same. Always the same. And here's what you find in the middle of the pack. You find the conscious control of speed, speeding up and slowing down, and negative imprints. These are the negative shooters. These are the trash talkers. These are the ones that tell you, this one here's a speed stage, this one here's a point stage. And they're consciously controlling their speed. The smart people know that every stage is a speed and points stage. Every stage. Right. And ultimately points win because inside of each class, points are going to determine the winner. Because every A-class shooter, A-class is a poor example. On the super squad, for sure, it's going to be points. Because one of them's going to kind of run away with it a little bit. He'll be like a second and a half maybe. 2 through 5 will be within hundreds of each other. And that means points takes it. Okay. And on the super squad, nobody's ever going to be faster enough. I suppose they might be fast enough to win a stage with a mic, but locally it happens all the time. Locally, you'll see the fastest guy at the club, he might get a mic on every stage and still win the match. And people think that's the model. Well, a mic on every stage is never going to work outside of a local match. It's just not. Because you won't be faster enough to offset those penalties. Okay? The other thing you see in the middle of the pack is lack of visual reps. On a short stage, they won't get as many reps. Okay? So if you want to stay in the middle of the pack, control your speed in competition and get negative imprints primarily in training. Okay? Don't ever be happy. Don't ever be satisfied. Be angry all the time, and welcome to the middle of the pack. Okay? The other thing I believe in is executable tasks versus vague ideas. This is kind of a new passion of mine because most of the mental game advice you're getting from other people, it's not wrong. It's just vague. Well, some of it's wrong. Just do it. Okay, great. Just do what? Well, what I'm going to tell you is just do it means create a subconscious stage plan with positive imprints, put the dot in the middle of the target. Oh, speaking of that, congratulations to Mason House. If you're in Texas and you know Mason, or if you're not in Texas, Mason is in Texas, so you're more likely to know him. He lives in a trailer. Not a trailer. Yeah, maybe it is a trailer. Or an RV down by the river. I don't know. At any rate, Mason is on fire. He did roughly 12 days of training with me and Kita, like in a row. He did a class with me. He did online mental management, and then he did a class with Kita. And like all almost consecutive days. The kid is on fire. He's absolutely on fire. He's doing everything that we're telling people to do, and then more. Because he's got executable tasks instead of vague ideas. Slow down to get your hits. I mean, maybe, but how much? Or put the dot in the middle of the target as quickly as you can. See, remember, controlling speed is just as bad when you slow down as it is when you speed up. It's just as bad. Okay? Executable tasks. If somebody's giving you mental game advice and you don't understand it, say, okay, you told me to flow like the water state. Cool, got it. What does that mean? Oh, just relax. Oh, relax. Human beings can't relax on demand. If they could, they wouldn't need to. It's like your first shot under a second. Your first shot under a second is probably not going to be an alpha. Because if you could shoot an alpha in under a second, you would have already done it. Oh, today goals. When you're primarily live fire, but also dry fire, give yourself today goals. This I call this goal-based practice. Goal-based. I'm gonna get my what would that be? My tenses right. Goal-based practice. What that means is I'm gonna go out and shoot for score. I'm gonna identify a today goal. As soon as I meet that today goal, I'm gonna move on and do something else. Okay? Shoot for score. Identify a today goal. Achieve it. Move on. Because if you can't do it again for whatever reason, you're gonna leave the range angry instead of happy. These are the negative imprints during training that keep people in the middle of the pack. Because you're creating this person who can't ever do it. What if you created a person who could do it? Well, I only did it once. Okay, but we did it. Good grief. Like, why do we have to be mad all the time? All right, that's like I was telling one of my red carpet clients. Oh, by the way, when you join red carpet coaching, you get Tough Love Steve. Tough Love Steve doesn't come out until there's trust. Okay? Until I know the relationship is so strong that one comment isn't going to harm it. And like me and the shooter, we like get each other, we understand each other. My first red carpet coaching client, he said, I can't dry fire on Tuesdays. And I went, BS. Well, by the time I get home, I'm tired. Yeah, right. Okay, we got it. No dry fire on Tuesdays. Got it. Sure. Very sarcastically. And then he goes, you know what? I think I could find a way. He messaged me a couple days ago, and man, Tuesday, I dry fired 3 hours straight. I was like, yep, we can dry fire on Tuesdays. I looked. There's no rule against it. Trump's working on getting it banned, right? He's like, maybe it's a Democrat. It doesn't matter. Okay, so vague ideas versus executable tasks. Don't try to not do things. Try to do things, and don't let somebody feed you a vague idea without an executable task. Okay? Think about cleaning the house, for example. Somebody tells you to clean the house, and you dust the baseboards, and you're out of time. Did you clean the house? Yeah, I dusted the baseboards for 3 hours. They look amazing. Yeah, but you didn't fold the laundry, and you didn't wash the dishes. Well, you should have told me that clean the house means fold the laundry, wash the dishes. Then I would have done those things. Cleaning the house is a vague idea. Executable task is not. Okay? First thing we can do with AndersonShooting.com is eliminate mystery mics. That's a term I use a bunch. If you have a miss on a stage, it's probably not going to be a surprise. Think about your last mic. Was it really that big of a surprise, or were you kind of worried about it? The mystery mic is usually on the target that you're worried about. But you got to get rid of mystery mics. And the first way to do that is to call every shot. And that's something we can teach you to do. Okay? Got to eliminate mystery mics. That might be good clickbait. I'll think about that. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is think about your classification as a lifestyle. If you're in B class, you're living a B class lifestyle. That is, you're not living how grandmasters live. And it's okay, but you can't desire GM status without living a GM lifestyle. Okay? They are lifestyles. They are different. Okay? So, is your lifestyle consistent with the result that you want? My red carpet coaching client who couldn't dry fire on Tuesdays decided he could. And now he's getting more results. See, he wanted Tuesday results. He wanted Saturday results, but he didn't want Tuesday dry fire. All right, pressure. Cannot be controlled. Cannot be eliminated. Cannot be denied. You have virtually no control. You can kind of control it, but not really. But the good news is the only thing pressure can do is give you more of what you're thinking and feeling. That's all it can do. If I know the stage inside and out, and it's a great one, and I have to watch Jay Beal do it in 7 seconds, it's going to put some pressure on me. As long as I stay with my process, pressure's only going to make me better. If I fully commit to center the dot, call the shot, pressure will make me better at that. But if I don't, or if I worry about being slow, pressure's going to make me worse. Pressure's going to cause me to crumble. And I'll prove it to you. Anybody who believes they're better at their job, or anybody that believes they're good at their job or great at their job, will also tell you that they're better under pressure. In the mental management class, we have a screen for it. It says pressure makes you do worse. And they go, yeah, pressure makes us suck. And I say, what about at work? I'll say, oh, pressure makes me great at work. The difference is strategy, skill, and confidence. I know what to do. I've done it before, done it a lot, and I know it's going to be okay. At work under pressure, we know it's going to be okay. Like if I'm doing a class and there's a problem with the props or the weather, I know it's going to be okay. Pressure makes me better. Okay? All right, so those are some things I believe in. Now I believe I got to come up with some clicky, catchy clickbait. Oh, accuracy versus speed. Quit asking that question. Answering that question, there's an example I want to use, but it's too close to home. That's a question that shouldn't be asked because there's no right answer. Okay? You get accuracy and speed when you call every shot without consciously controlling your speed. Okay? That's how you get accuracy and speed. If you're consciously controlling your speed, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Targets are traffic. If I go to the store right now, my average speed is probably 35. There might be Richmond law enforcement listening. There's one really cool stretch of road. But if there's a traffic jam, so what if my buddy calls me and says, hey man, if you're going to go to the store, you should know there's a massive traffic jam. And I decide I'm going to drive 17 miles an hour, it's going to be the wrong speed. It'll either be too fast or too slow. Targets are traffic. That's what I want to leave you with. Targets are traffic. All right, once again, go to andersonshooting.com and click training to see where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. And remember, you can get a class for free. All you have to do is email me, steve@andersonshooting.com. All we need, literally all we need, is a range and a date. What happens this time of year is I give out all these dates, and everybody's like, I'll get back to you. Then everybody wants the same date. So if there's a date you want, we need to set it like nowsies. Okay? All right, until we meet again on the range, on the Zoom, or anywhere else, be like me, do what I do, say it with me. 1, 2, 3, love you, bye, and get to work.